Today on the podcast, we are going to talk about what it looks like to succeed without losing your soul. And if you've ever wondered what it looks like to chase something big and not lose yourself when you get there, then this episode is for you. Welcome to Badass Softy, a podcast for leaders who are unapologetically ambitious and want to lead with heart because you're allowed to chase big goals without losing what makes you human. I'm your host, Dr. JJ Peterson, and today I am talking to one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world, Al Andrews. Al is the founder of Porter's Call, which is a Nashville-based nonprofit that really has quietly become this refuge for recording artists. They offer free counseling and support and community for, honestly, some of the biggest names in music. You've heard these people sing. And for years, Al has been invited into rooms that, where he can walk alongside artists as they rise and as they struggle. And sometimes as they realize the dream they chased maybe doesn't feel the same way they thought it would. And over time, he started noticing patterns in what helps people stay grounded, patterns in what slowly pulls people apart, and patterns in what actually takes to succeed and still feel like yourself at the end. And if you've ever wondered what it looks like to chase something big and not lose yourself when you get there, then I am so excited for us to learn today from my friend, Al Andrews. I could not be more excited that you are here. You are our very first guest in our podcast studio. And I knew when I started this podcast, you and I talked very early on, and I knew I wanted you to be our first guest.
Thank you.
There is a reason why, because I've watched, I'll just say in my own life, you have been a mentor, you have been an inspiration, and I feel a peace around you and a calmness that I don't get around a lot of other people. And also in that you have accomplished huge things and changed the world. And so that, I think, so much so, you are the heart of Badass Softy. Like, if I have an aspirational identity for who I want to be when I grow up in this space, it's you. And so I wanted you to be here, and that is why you are on Badass Softy today. So welcome.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks so much. Those are kind words.
So let's just dive into it. When I introed you a little bit ahead of time and talked about what you have done in the world, but tell me about what you have built and how you are helping people just succeed without losing their soul. Very honestly. So let's kind of start back a little bit towards the beginning of founding.
Sure. Moved to town in 97 and started a private practice in Nashville. And after about the first year, I just looked at my clientele, and it was 90% music. All different kinds of things. It was like a bus driver, a manager, a backup singer, a keyboard player, an artist, all this. I could have started a label or something if I didn't have integrity. But the more and more artists that I saw, the more frustrated I got, because artists couldn't come regularly. And most of them, as they began their career, couldn't afford me. Yeah. But I also saw some themes. What to do with too much fame, not enough fame, too much money, not enough money. Struggling with the distance between what people see and imagine and what really is.
Yeah.
And I found myself more and more frustrated with, I don't feel like I'm being enough help to these folks just because of the way it was working.
Yeah, I think anybody, you could say this about business, you could say this about Hollywood, and you can definitely say this about the music industry in Nashville, is that, like, these are places that people come to build a dream, whether you're building a business or building a career in the arts. It's like you have these dreams, and pursuing these dreams, obviously everybody knows it's hard. Like, it's like there's a lot of luck involved. It's hard work involved, but there's some patterns that get developed of like, okay, you're not successful enough.
Yeah.
What problems are created with that when you're living in a world where everybody else around you is maybe even less talented and getting more famous. And then there's also that next level of what happens when you achieve your dreams.
Yeah.
And now you do have money and fame and you've created a persona and your family is not with you on the road and all of these things. I can't imagine, I can't imagine how hard that is for a lot of people.
Yes.
And you decided then that you are going to kind of shift your practice to be more focused in that specific space.
Yes. In fact, the way it happened was while I was frustrated and trying to think of something that would be different, two leaders in the music industry, Bill Hearn and Peter York, who were leaders at EMI Music, they were struggling with, we are asking artists to live a very crazy life, and we're not doing anything to help them live that life. So they were, while I was over here, they were over here having that discussion, and they came to me and said, we want to figure out something to do with artists. And so collaboratively, we began to dream and then started this nonprofit we call Porter's Call in 2001.
And the way that it works is, so people who are artists, like kind of front of house kind of people, like who are performers, leaders in bands or bands in general, they can come to you in a way that is not kind of the normal, like you said, they can't come all the time. So it's not like a weekly thing sometimes. And then the industry, the labels pay for it. Yeah.
Anybody who's a recording artist can come to get the help they need, no matter what it is. And we raise money. We raise money from people who make money from artists. Mm-hmm. And over the years, they've gotten it and have been very generous. And I'm retired now, but it's keeping on going. Yeah. And thousands of artists over the years have come our way, and it's been a joy to see.
And I love that because everybody comes in at the same level. It doesn't matter if you are, are a, multi-platinum selling artist, or you are just starting out and they're trying to build you up. You come in at the same level. It's the same, you come in for free. It's taken care of, and it's actually giving you tools no matter what stage you're at in life. And I personally know, a number of my friends who are in the industry have benefited from it. And they would say their lives have been changed because of the work that they've done with you and your team. And, why I wanted you to be on here is, first of all, like I said, aspirational, who I want to be when I grow up. But the other piece of it is, I think so many of us are in this space, right? Where we are, may not be an artist specifically, but are pursuing dreams, building businesses, building teams, trying to pursue even kind of like, even if you're, a teacher in school, it's like, well, what I'm trying to achieve and do things. And what does that mean for me to be a great teacher and have great influence? Mm-hmm. But especially I think for business owners, it's that we're in this space of like, when is enough enough? How do I know that I need to follow the process, right? It's a slow process to build, but when it's not going the way I want, that sucks. Yeah. And then what happens when I get everything I want and now it's too much, or doesn't fulfill me the way I want? Yeah. And you and I have talked over the years about different patterns and themes that you've seen, and you've started to kind of capture ways to combat that a little bit, to help people either on their way up or at the top succeed while keeping their soul, keeping their family, keeping their humanity. Mm-hmm. And so I want you to talk about that a little bit today. And to kind of kick us off, one of the things that I love that you talk about of how to kind of do this, one of the ways to kind of maintain your integrity while growing is, I think you say, share your stage. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well, backing up just a little bit, a number of years ago, a record company came to me and said, would you come to our staff and talk about how to help keep artists healthy? Mm. And so I started thinking of things that I'd seen, I'd known, or that I'd heard that would help somebody stay healthy. And the first thing I thought of, and based on things I've just observed, and the first thing I thought of was, as you said, share your stage. And what that means is, as you grow in your business, you're so right. It's very easily translated from artist to business. But as you grow and as you get lifted up and as you are the person, there's a tendency to want to hold it tight. You've built it out after all, and I'm going to be very closed and keep this thing. And but that doesn't work. It's isolating. It hurts. And when I look at artists, I've seen a few artists share their stage, and it's unbelievable. I saw one guy who had a Christmas concert, Skirmerhorn, and it's a 2-hour show, and he had a band of 6 people, and he let every band member do a solo. Think of that. That's probably more than 30 minutes of his time. And every one of them did a solo. Yeah. I could just weep if I remember, because I saw it every year. Yeah. And some of those people took off because of that. There's another guy who's just really famous, and he takes people without recognizable names to show them off.
Yeah. I remember being very impressed with Jason Isbell specifically. I don't know if you know him, but he, I've watched him. He's achieved a level of fame, and then he's been very specific about giving stage to people who don't get the stage, people who are often from marginalized communities, especially in the country space. And giving them a platform. And I know I've been a benefit. You know, Donald Miller. He had a stage, and he shared his stage with me through StoryBrand. He allowed me to work with him, and it changed my life. I believe it changed his as well, you know, in the process, and we were able to build something together. But he shared his stage. I did not have a stage at that time. And it's really, I do think it's benefit for both, because you're right. When you just go up yourself, you have to carry the whole burden yourself. Yeah. You also, it becomes the more stress, it becomes isolating. And if you want to be in a space where you actually are enjoying what you're doing, you bring other people with you. And I think that that's so powerful. Taylor Swift does that. You know, she invites people on stage in her concert. When they go up there, their streams go up. You know, it's kind of unbelievable to watch.
I remember one time one of these guys came back from a big tour where he was one of the people that was just pushed out on stage. Yeah. And he brought a picture with him of the camera behind him showing his back, and then this huge crowd. Yeah. And he was like, I got to do this. Yeah. And he gave me a really nice room, and he paid me well. Yeah. And
imagine that.
And all these things. And I think there's something about sharing your stage that keeps you humble. Yeah. That goes, it's not all about me. It's my generosity in this world to help other people rise up. Yeah. And that'll keep you centered.
Yeah. Grounded for sure. Yeah. Now, what are some other things that you have noticed?
You know, one of the things that I thought about was, what does it mean to bridge the distance between who people perceive you to be or fantasize you to be and who you know you are? Yeah. Because let's face it, if you get out there on stage and you do a bang up job, people have an image of what you're like, what you'd be like to live with, you'd be their best friend, whatever. They just have this image. They do. I know if I give a good talk, I go, if people just based it off that, they think I'm an amazing person.
And we know that's not true. We know that's not true.
If my wife is sitting there, it's always grounding. you know, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
But I go, what does it mean to be who you are up there versus an image of who you want to be?
Yeah.
And that's, I remember not long ago, I was giving a talk and I'd had an experience and somehow I worked this experience into the talk. And it was like this. I said, you know, if I'm driving on Highway 440 and going down to Franklin from Nashville, in the afternoon, there's a 2-mile line to get onto the interstate. And I go, this is ridiculous to sit in this line. And so I get on the outside because there's always a slow truck and that you can pull in front of, you know, and then you only have a half mile to go. And so that's what I do. And before I gave this talk, I had done that and I had about a half mile to go. And somebody came up and tried to get in front of me and I sped up. I mean, which is just, and I stopped and went, oh my gosh. But I told that story and that's not a very flattering story.
Yeah.
But it was so interesting when I told it, you could see it change in the audience.
Yeah.
I saw some, yeah, me too. I mean, a number of that, but I saw them lean forward. And I think that's because I bridged the distance. That is a very unflattering thing to tell. And I didn't do it because of that, but I realized at that time it bridged the distance.
Yeah.
And I just think it's important to try to be who you are. And I know a number of artists who I know personally, and they are on stage who they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do that, except for I have, gosh, years ago, I got a call from somebody backstage, a friend, who said, here's the deal. I'm going on stage in about 20 minutes, and me and God are not having a good time. I feel distant, whatever, and I don't think I can go sing the songs that I wrote. So I don't think I can go on stage. And I went, what if you went on stage and said this? Good to see you all tonight. I am really struggling with this God thing. But I'm here and you're here. So I would like to sing these songs that I wrote when I had a strong faith. Because maybe that'll come back. And maybe you're at the same place. And he did it. And it was real.
Yeah.
And it bridged the distance.
Well, the burden of masks is just often too much to carry, right? Like when you put on a mask and to become somebody else, like not only does it keep you from connecting with people, but just that gets to me heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
And if you're like trying to put out there like that, building your life around like, oh, I'm so happy all the time. And then behind the scenes, you're not. It doesn't mean, I don't think it always means you go out there and just always say, I'm always sad. But working to bridge that gap makes living life and success so much better.
And so I think as you're leading, you lead with strength and you lead with weakness.
Yeah.
And you just don't dump everything all the time on people. But I think the call to be real, I think, is just so important.
And it matters.
Yeah, it really does matter.
One of my favorite things that you talk about is in this space is a little surprising, I think. Might be surprising for people because some of those you go, oh yeah, share your stage. That makes sense. But you teach people to read poetry.
Yes.
And we've done that. You and I have been in gatherings where we've actually gathered with our friends and just read. People have brought poetry. We've read it out loud. We've talked about it. Why do you believe that reading poetry matters in leadership and leading up to success, keeping you kind of grounded?
Well, it's so funny. When I got married, my wife is a poetry ninja.
Yeah.
She has studied, there's actually a counseling degree in poetry therapy.
Oh, wow.
Using poetry as a part of what you're doing. And she has access to thousands of poems. You could say, could you give me a poem on this? And, she does. And I was unconvinced, but she said, I want you to listen to this. And it was a poet named Billy Collins, who was a poet laureate of the United States. And of all people, Bill Murray introduced him at an event. And he got up to read, and I was smitten with what he did. And so she introduced me to him and to others and basically said, poetry is an economy of words that goes to the heart. And she kept introducing me to different poets, and she said a good poem has what is called an envoy line at the end. An envoy is somebody that I, as the leader of a country, send to another country that goes and assesses the situation and comes back and brings me news from another land that I didn't know. And she said, that's what a good poem does. It brings you news from another place. And Mary Oliver said, poetry is like a rope let down that you can hang on to and get pulled up. So knowing that you're going to ask me this, I brought a poem today.
Yes.
Just to give you an example of how, because this takes a lot of convincing.
Yeah.
It really does. Because most people had a horrible experience in high school with poetry. But I've found poems that are accessible, and Billy Collins wrote a poem called Poetry 180, which he found 180 different poems for every day of a high schooler's senior year, and this is one of them. This is called Under Ideal Conditions. It's short, by a guy named Al Zolness, Zolnas. Called Under Ideal Conditions. Say, in the flattest part of North Dakota, on a starless, moonless night, no breath at all, a man could light a candle and then walk away, and every now and then he could turn and see the candle burning. 17 miles later, provided conditions remained ideal, he could still see the flame. Somewhere between the 17th and 18th mile, he would lose the light. If he were walking backwards, he would know the exact moment when he lost the flame. He could step forward and find it again, back and forth, dark to light, light to dark. What's the place where the light disappears, where the light reappears? Don't tell me about photons and eyeballs, reflection and refraction. Don't tell me about 186,000 miles per second and the theory of relativity. All I know is the place where the light appears and disappears. That's the place where we live.
Well, you're not supposed to make me cry in the first interview in the podcast studio.
The envoy line.
That's the envoy line. I mean, and it's so beautiful because, we could talk about that poem specifically for a long time. But I think I'll bring this back to some of my communication theory of why actually this works also. Yeah. So I studied Kierkegaard and indirect communication. And we're moving from poetry to academia here. I'm breaking it down.
It fits.
But I studied Kierkegaard and indirect communication. And in that, what he would argue and others who study it would argue is that if you actually want to break through boundaries for people and express truth and change them, you can't do it directly. So if you were to say to somebody who is in a hard place, hey, you need to recognize there's beauty in darkness and light in the world, they're going to go, okay, like you can't, when you go direct at somebody, and then it actually is a little harder to break through. But when you use poetry, imagination, story, myth, what you do is, he would say, you kind of you come in through the back door. That's the indirect, and it causes what's in academic terms is called double reflection. So you telling me something is single reflection. If I have to think about the words and then think about the application, now it's double.
Wow.
And that has greater influence on your thoughts and actions.
Yes.
C.S. Lewis would talk about myth and story as a way of sneaking past the sleeping dragon of consciousness, right? That often we cannot experience truth because there's this dragon that's keeping it away. But if we use poetry, myth, story, it allows us to experience new truths. So when I look at this poem and I hear this beauty about, we stand in that place between dark and light, and we step back and forth between it, and then there's a whole bunch more I can mean apply to my own life, is different than you, like me going through a hard time and you telling me, hey, you need to realize that there's hard and good things in the world.
Yeah.
That's direct.
Good will come, hang on, versus, oh, this is what life is.
Yeah. And poetry does that for people. I think there's, it's beautiful and it creates a sense of awe, which also brings joy in life. But it also creates an understanding that we honestly, what science and research says, you could not achieve without that. Because you have that kind of block. Yeah. And so I have found that to be true in my own life, is that sometimes in those moments when I feel overwhelmed, I feel like nothing's going good, and other things, I find a place to listen to a song, or I find, that a lot of people maybe not turn to poetry per se, but they turn to music because there's lyrics that help them rediscover beauty.
It's really the same thing. It's what is it that helps me to enter into a deeper place of understanding. Yeah.
And that's that's one of the things that I've learned so much from you and Nita, your wife, is just that idea of turn to poetry. And it actually helps you rediscover some truths about yourself and the world that maybe you're missing, that allows you to continue to move forward. What is, I know you have a lot of these, and I'll bring you back another time. We'll do this again.
Okay.
But what would be one more that you kind of just notice that really is helpful for people to understand, whether they're on their way up or as they're like achieving a level of success that maybe feels a bit overwhelming for them?
This is going to be a strange sounding one, but I'll say it anyway. And that is embrace sorrow. One of the things that in counseling that eventually I'll ask someone, probably pretty soon to their coming in to see me, is by observing, what did you learn from your family of origin about grief and sorrow? What did you learn about being sad? And it's amazing how many people go, we didn't go there. We didn't go there. My own family, I love them. Growing up, my parents had some struggles growing up, and it was difficult. And so they didn't want us to struggle. And so the theme of our family was happy. But I didn't know what to do with sorrow. When I was teaching in a counseling program, I was teaching psychopathology, which is what's wrong with people, all the different things. And I started every class with a statement, and it was, the flight from sorrow leads to the loss of hope.
Explain that.
Well, if you flee sorrow, if you don't embrace it, it goes somewhere. Often, someone who's very depressed, if it's not physiological depression, often there's something that they will not face, a sorrow that they will not grieve, and something just shuts down inside. If you look at different things that people struggle with, whether it's anorexia, whether it's depression or anxiety, all sorts of different things, often there is something in their past that has not been grieved. And that will bite you.
Yeah.
That will bite you eventually. As a leader, it will come and get you.
How do you embrace sorrow then?
You know, all sorts of, one is with someone else, tell the story that you know is there. Explore that story, because we don't lean toward that. Explore the story and ultimately grieve what happened, if you will. I had a therapist one time that knew my own struggle with going there. And he said, so is there any song that brings tears to your eyes? And I said, yeah, there are 3. And
You're like, immediately.
I knew them all. Yeah, it's like, what? And he said, well, good. He said, I just have an assignment for you. I want you to go home, and sometime in the next week or so, when you're by yourself or go to your office early, lay down on the carpet, put your songs in, and when you feel a tear come to your eye, open your mouth and let it rip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just make some noise. And I went, that's ridiculous. But I did it. And I lay down and I put this song in. It was Take It With Me by Tom Waits. And I felt this tear come to my eyes. I opened my mouth and I wailed. Mm. And it kept going. And I was going, I hope nobody comes to the office early. I mean, I wailed, and I don't know what it was. But it showed me that there's sorrow in all of us. I have this little theory, not theory, but just thought of, I think that there is a stream of sorrow running through everyone that's always there. And if you're in a movie and something happens and you start crying, it's not about the movie. It's the film that connected to something.
It was an envoy.
It's an envoy. And so we could probably talk about sorrow for a couple of hours, but yeah. I just know that it's true. It's that Mary Oliver has a poem called Love, Sorrow, and you can just Google it. And it just talks about what it means to embrace this sorrow that she describes as a little girl that needs to be held.
Yeah. We really could talk for hours, and mm-hmm. I really do. We'll bring you back because okay. I want to hear some. I know there are others. Like, I'll give a little teaser. One of my favorites you say is "Pet the Bees," and we'll talk about that later. That's a little spoiler for our next one.
Pet the bees. What's that about? Okay,
but you have what I love is that all of this. You're the wisdom that you bring from working with people who, again, are in the space of coming up. And then also have achieved. And sometimes it's not enough or too much even when they've achieved. Mm-hmm. That finding these patterns that you've come back to and help people with, and specifically today, just to kind of recap the idea of share your sage. I think that when you invite other people into your space and share your sage, it keeps you humble, mm-hmm. keeps you grounded, it shares the weight, and it also is just fun. It's just fun to do stuff with other people and be a part of somebody else's journey. The idea of bridging the gap between who you are publicly and who you are privately, no longer having to carry that mask, because that can crush you as well. Mm-hmm. It creates connection, but it also lifts a weight off of you as well. Mm-hmm. The poetry side of things, of discovering truth that maybe you didn't know that you needed to know, and just experiencing beauty and awe in a whole new way. And then the final piece of, embrace the sorrow. And I think for all of us who are in this space of trying to achieve big things and big dreams, but wanting to do it in a way that keeps our soul grounded, this has been such a gift for me, again, to be reminded of these things today, and for everybody listening. So Al, I love it, and I love you. And I am so grateful that you are our first guest here. So
I'm honored.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a badass softie.
Thanks, JJ.
I absolutely adore that man. He's so wise and so kind, and I said it in the interview, but I could talk to him for hours, and we will have him back. He'll be back. Thank you, Al, for being here and sharing with us. And I think the thing I'm taking away, just very practically from today's conversation, is read more poetry. I think I get away from, it feels frivolous often to kind of take time to sit aside to just listen to music and just, read poetry. In fact, a lot of times when I'm listening to music, I'm doing it in the background of accomplishing something else. But if I can pause long enough to listen to a new message, some new words, new beauty, a new voice that maybe has a message from me from somewhere else, maybe it's something I need to hear, and it will help me be more grounded, more myself, and allow me to actually move forward in a more full version of myself as I continue to build my dream, my business, and bring others along the way. So I hope that that is inspiring for you and you got something out of it today as well. And as we close things out, I just want to leave you with this. May you have the courage and commitment to share your stage, to make room for others even as your own stage expands. May you live with the quiet freedom of being known for who you actually are, not just who people imagine you to be. May you slow down enough to notice beauty and let the words and wonder of poetry shape your soul. And may you have the ability to see both into the dark and the light, to welcome sorrow instead of running from it, knowing that when we avoid things, they don't disappear, they wait. And when we embrace, we can finally begin to heal. Because we believe you can be both ambitious and kind, fun and driven, powerful and deeply human. Your leadership can inspire, your success can have soul, and your ambition can make space for everyone. That's why you're a badass softie. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. BadassSoftie.com is crafted by Fruitful Design and Strategy.